Good morning, student. Wish you a happy new year. Now, let's start our study. Today, we teach about primary memory. Introduction. Computers need to store data and instructions for future use. Memory is a part of computer where data and instructions are stored. Two major types of computer memories are primary memory and secondary memory. The binary digits in short are known as bits. A bit is a binary digit which is either 1 or 0. A group of 8 bits is known as byte. Memory information in a memory of a digital computer is stored in form of binary digits 0 and 1. Storage capacity of a computer memory is measured in terms of the bytes in form of kilobytes, megabytes, and gigabytes. Consider now primary memory. Primary memory, also known as main memory, an important part of computer in which data is stored for quick access by the computer processor. It is made of lar- larger number of cells. Each cell identified by number called an address of the cell. Each cell contains bits of data. The primary memory is organized in such a fashion that the time required to store or retrieve data from a cell in is independent of the cell address. That is, any location of the memory can be chosen randomly for use. This is known as random access memory. Memory, primary memory, it means student primary memory is computer memory that is accessed directly by CPU. These include several types of memory, such is the processor, cache, and system ROM. However, in most cases, primary memory refers to system RAM. There are two major categories of memory, long term memory and short term memory. On modern computers, term RAM or just memory is used instead of primary or main storage, and hard disks, CD, and DVD collectively describe secondary storage or auxiliary storage. RAM full form is random access memory. There are other access methods which are random. For example, sequential access memory, first in first out access FIFO, and last in first out access LIFO. In this memory, data is stored serially sequentially in a long string. RAM is volatile memory. The content written in RAM requires continuously power supply to return to the memory. There are two basic types of the RAM. The first one is static and second is dynamic RAM. Dynamic RAM needs to be refreshed thousands of times per second. It means computer's RAM is one of the most important computers in determine your system performance. RAM gives applications a place to store access a data. To store short time basis is store the information your computer is actively using so that it can be accessed quickly. RAM is a volatile memory. It means it does not store data or instructions permanently. When you switch on the computer, the data and instructions from the hard disk are stored in RAM. When shut down the computer, the RAM loses all the data. ROM is non-volatile memory. It means it does not lose its data and instructions or programs that are written on it at time. So it is permanent memory that contains all important data and instructions needed to perform important tasks like the boot process. Now, FIFO. FIFO is an accounting method in which assets purchased or required acquired first are disposed of first. FIFO assumes that the remaining inventory consists of items purchased last. An alternative in LIFO method which assets purchased or required last are disposed of first. Static RAM does not Static RAM does not need to be refreshed, which makes it faster, but it is more expensive than dynamic RAM. Both types of RAM are volatile, that they lose their contents when the power is turned off. Computer also contain read-only memory which are used to permanently record data and instructions. Content of ROM can only be read, unlike RAM. ROM returns its content even when the computer is turned off. ROM is an ideal memory to store critical instructions into the computer such as boot programs, printer, drivers, files and fonts. Hardware utility with some software instruction in an integrated fashion. Firmware are developed by the hardware manufacturing company and provide free while one purchase the hardware. Another alternative is to download such firmware from companies, online store or website. Many items firmware needed to be updated as and when you change the hardware device. Many mobile phones use firmware over the air to update the mobile firmware, which makes the activity independent of cables computers, and third party software. Most of the companies would like store firmware in hidden fashion in order to make system transparent from the user and reduce complexity to work. Example: washing machine, traffic lights, digital cameras, microwave, oven, etc. A ROM is programmable read-only memory. EEPROM are manufactured as blank chips on which data program can be written with a special device called PROM. Programmer, there is a special type of PROM called is erasable PROM. EEPROM allows the content of PROM erased by exposing it to ultraviolet light. Such memory is called electrically erasable PROM. EEPROMs are very useful in manufacturing USB pen drives, cellular phones, digital cameras, MP3 players. It means the full form of EEPROM is erasable programmable read only memory. In programmable in erasable programmable read only memory from of computer memory that does not lose its content when the power supply is cut off, and that can be erased and reduced. There is a special high. The concept of the read-only memory can be utilized to create a firmware. Firmware is to be stored on non-volatile memory device such as ROM, EEPROM, or flash memory. The firmware normally supports functions such as controlling the hardware and facilitating use of the hardware. Because of this reason, users are not generally allowed to change the firmware. For example, washing machine, microwave oven, etc. On the other hand, software program written by user as superstore bills, pay slip, mark sheets, printing can be changed by the user provided they have source code for the software. There is a special high-speed storage mechanism. Cache memory is small and high-speed memory within the computer's central processing unit for frequent access. The purpose of such memory is to increase speed of computer processor.